Hey guys, welcome to another vlog. This is Sunday the 29th of November. Apparently the last one was a little bit short and I didn't include much information about the workshop and things, and I got a lot of questions, which is good. Can answer them in this one. So we'll run you through the workshop, run you through the clean room again, a few of the updates because we're still doing fit out. And we'll just talk a little more about what we're up to and what we did this week in terms of detailing, all that kind of stuff. You ready? So this is reception. It's not finished. Here is where we're going to have all your products for retail. We didn't bother because of COVID and we couldn't have people in here. We didn't bother to do that and we prioritized other areas. That's my absolutely filthy 1994, I think, Kajiva Mito. These are your online store orders. This is the workshop. As you can see, you still haven't finished. Got some cladding to go up there. Got to find some cheap cladding. That's a castle reference. This is Café, and for some silly reason I kept my phone there. Very professional, Damian. This is where customers have a coffee before they collect the car that's complete and in the clean room. Let's make a coffee. Alright, this is not a customer's car. I thought I'd give it some interior going over. You would have seen this from the interior video. It's convertible, so it gets filthy. But as usual, I put it out every day, try and get started on it, get hammered with work, and at the end of the day, it's too late, I'm too tired, and I go home and it gets put on the back burner. Clean room, we've done just a few minor upgrades. I can't remember what I did in the last video, but toolboxes, so we can store a little bit of stuff in them. Let's see if I can figure out how to use this thing. These are diagnostic tools. That's your ultrasound, that's temperature, and that's gloss meter. You would have seen them from some videos. Polishing tool and all the little polishing bits and pieces. What do we got here? PPE. You get the picture. So basically that's just allowing me to keep my bench a little cleaner. I've got more room on the bench, more storage up here. I've got more storage than I know what to do with, so I'm not gonna do much in here at all anymore. Just want to get a little bit more lighting. I've noticed that the ambient lighting is just not enough. Looks a little dark in there. I underestimated how much of a difference the black room would make, so we need a little bit more ambient lighting. That's not the lighting we use for detailing, by the way. A lot of people said that's the wrong type of lighting. You've always said that's the wrong type of lighting. It looks great, it looks fancy, but it doesn't do anything for detailing. And I maintain that, but I'm not using that to see imperfections. I'm using those lights over there for imperfections. That's ambient lighting, so when a customer comes to collect the car, they don't have to look at that ugly lighting. That's very, very hard. That's not what you want to demonstrate a finished job with. This is the kind of lighting that I use to detail a car for paint correction. That's the kind of lighting I use for paint correction, but it's not the lighting we use to deliver a car to a customer with. It's just really hard to look at, and it's not nice at all. And it's concentrated. It's shaped in a way where you're only looking at one particular section of a car. It's not overall ambient lighting. So don't have a go at me. Yes, that's the wrong lighting for detailing. It absolutely does sweet FA for seeing imperfections, which is why some detailers use it. It makes cars look good. That's just for customers to see while they're walking around the room. If you switch that lighting off, it's too dark and it's horrible. It's not that the light over there isn't bright enough, it's just that that light is not the right type of light for just general ambience. Okay. Here's the bends that we did, the S500. Big job. I wanted to talk about that one because some people spotted some imperfections in it. This job wasn't meant to be perfect. In fact, probably going to do myself a disservice saying this. No job that leaves FI is meant to be perfect. They're never perfect, not by my definition anyway. If every car that left here had to be perfect, every car would be $10,000 to $12,000 or something like that. Perfection, and everybody's definition of perfection differs, is very hard to achieve, and you're normally not achieving that. You're trying to achieve a compromise between the customer's budget, what you're starting with, and what you'd like to end up with. And this was, I believe, a very good shot at hitting that compromise. The problem with this was that it started out pretty nasty, and that it was just some of the sections that were that required work were just they required so much work. These little seals down the bottom here, they required hours. I mean, 4 hours, I think, just for the seals. I had to give up because putting any more than 4 hours into seals is just a little bit silly, and it's kind of, I think it's irresponsible. It's a waste of the customer's budget. The customer gives you a budget. This one was a bit low, but that's fine. That's a challenge. But you really then have to understand where you're going to put that budget, and where are the most responsible, or how to be most responsible about. You have to understand how to be as responsible as possible with that budget, where to allocate the time, where it's going to make the most impact, and that's what I've done here. The client hasn't seen it yet, so we don't know what they're going to think. I think they'll be happy. They were happy with the last one. It was the same kind of deal, a compromised job. They're all compromised, but these are real challenges. Someone asked me a good question, actually, whether or not it was easier to do this job than a much harder job. They said, oh, the $18,000 concourse that you have, that would be much more difficult. And it's actually, I said to them, no, I thought about it and said, actually, it's easier. It's much easier for me to come into work every day and perfect something, because I now have the skill to perfect a job, a detailing job. It's easy to come into work every day where you have the budget. No, I've got plenty of budget. All I have to do today is make this job perfect. It's what I like doing. I like doing more paint correction. I would like to make this job perfect. It's much more difficult, though, to have a job that's heavily compromised, where you've got a tight budget, and it's a challenge, and I like the challenge, but it's more difficult to do a compromised job. So the lower the budget, usually, the harder it is to make the client happy, because you've got more moving parts, and there are more compromises that you have to deal with. So, difficult job, actually a really difficult job for that reason. It's easy for me to make that perfect. If I spend another week on that, that'll be perfect, the client be wrapped. But I'd be working for $2 an hour. Maybe I might even make a loss on it. So that's out of the question. You can't do that. And therefore, you've got that difficulty. Where do I put the time? Where do I put the money, pretty much? I've got a day to work today, and I know that I have to do all the paint correction today, or most of the heavy cutting at least today. What am I going to do? Where am I going to put that time? So by the end of the day, I've got maximum bang for buck. That's difficult. Doing an $18,000 detail where you just go all out and getting something perfect, and you've got plenty of budget to make it perfect, that's easy. It's difficult when you haven't got the skill. When you're starting out in detailing, you haven't built up the skill. But when you have built up the skill and you do know how to make paint perfect and get all the other little bits that are important to a detail perfect, that's the easy part. The difficult part is getting that balance of budget and expectations from the customer just right. So the customer picks it up and says, I'm happy with the price and I'm happy with what you've achieved, and I'll come back. That's what you want to hit, and that's much more difficult than just making a job perfect. We also did a we're finishing off the Holden, the HSV Maloo. Very, very nice car. Almost perfect. This one is going to be almost perfect. It's just so well looked after. The customer's done things like paint to the front end, so all the stone chips are gone. And it's not going to take too much time, but I'm really keen to make it as perfect as possible. It's also a pretty good customer in the sense that he said you can have as long as you need with it, just call me when it's done. I love that. So I've been able to put, you know, a little bit of time here and a little bit of time there and really think about where I'm going to put the time. So it's going to be within budget, but it's also going to be very, very close to perfect. It'll be showroom. We don't want to go overboard. He does drive it every day, which is awesome. He uses that every day. He does deliveries in that, which is really good to see. The car's going to last longer because it's constantly being used and exercised. Really, really nice, really nice. That one should be finished in a few days. We did a Kia Cerato. A lot of people asked about some questions about the little details that I did there, especially number plates. Some people don't like number plates being removed and fiddled with. They say they just want it left as factory. But number plate frames and things like that, all that dealer advertising that you see around the number plate, that's not factory. It didn't come from the Kia factory like that. The dealer fit that. And with this particular one, which is a really good example because it's common, this one had number plate frames that were pressed up against the body and were definitely within the first 20,000 Ks or so going to cause some damage. And within the first, say, 60,000 Ks, were going to cause permanent damage. The number plate frames, which are actually pretty sharp, those pieces of plastic are sharp, they would have cut through the paintwork, and then I can't repair that. That's not good. It's my opinion, you don't have to share my opinion, that dealer advertising is unwanted on a car. Once you buy that car, it's your car. You don't have a contract with the dealer to keep advertising, so you don't need number plate frames that have the dealer advertising on them. I think they look ugly, they clutter the car. They don't do anything to protect number plates or anything like that. It's just advertising. I don't like advertising on the car. Sometimes I don't even like badges on the car. Usually I'll keep the branding, the make of the car, but I won't keep the model number. This one's a good one to, as an example. I'll call it back. So no model designation, but I've kept the branding. And I'm going to remove the dealer information from the car, the dealer advertising from the car, and the back will look a lot cleaner as a result. So that's really why we do that. It just makes the car look cleaner, and it makes it look, makes it easier to clean. You don't have to clean around badges and things like that. I put the badges in a Ziploc bag and put them in the glove box, so if and when the owner goes to sell the car, he can reapply them. The car's back to factory. As for dealer number plates, they're not factory anyway. The Limited never left the factory with that dealer advertising on it. Even stickers, dealer advertising stickers and things, they block your rearward vision. They usually peel up at the edges and look pretty nasty. The only time I would keep them on if they were vintage. So if we get a car that's 60s or 70s and it's still got the dealer information, the dealer sticker on them, just looks so cool. You have to keep it there. I think it really adds. There's a difference between patina and ugly advertising that clutters the back and sometimes the front of a car. It just doesn't look right. Anyway, sorry, hope the rant wasn't too long. Hope you have a really good weekend. I hope you enjoyed this. Keep your questions coming. Might make another one of these next week. See ya.